Hello, beautiful people, because there is no one ugly here. Right, Manfred? I got confirmation from my stuffed animal. We're good. Welcome back to Day 9 Daily number 589, where we learn to be a better gamer in between eating dinner. In part 1, we got the chance to look at this opening and saw that it was safe from everything that could be thrown at us early on. Things like Dark Templar, no problem. We had our robotics facility done at 6 minutes, so we could easily just chrono out an observer if we saw nothing threatening happen. We have the ability to use these early sentries to get a hallucination, to check out what he's doing. Any early aggression, we have our mothership core to throw down a photon overcharge. Yes! So we're doing all sorts of great things to our shirts because we're happy about our opening. It's a difficult spot to segue out of. What was I talking about? So we're safe. The next question is, what about Phase 2 of the game? What now? Here's a generic statement of PvP that is, for the most part, true by and large and in general. Once we have 2 bases up, we want to avoid building too many stalkers. Why? They suck at maxed armies. They're the worst thing to ever happen to America when we're maxed. So we're going to be trying to transition to things like Colossus, Zealot Archon, Tempest, High Templar, anything but Stalkers. Stalkers are just no-nos once we have, especially high base count, generally starting at 2. So if we are not against air, we just tech a little faster. Because we are against air, we're just going to get some Stalkers, which will delay our tech, but no big deal. He went Stargate, so his tech is delayed. He doesn't even have a finished robotics facility. Ours is already done, and we've built ourselves an Immortal too. We are much farther ahead in the tech front. We're much farther ahead in the expand front. We don't quite have as many probes because we suffered some losses due to these oracles. This one has 3, and this one has, wow, 5. Yuck. But that's fine. We're going to see how state ends up transitioning out. Just wanted to note, for any of you who have not received bleed codes, please wait around 48 hours. There was a bunch of errors in sending them out, so we're basically just sending them out like 10 at a time. So it will take some folk a little longer. I just want to say wait 48 hours in case, or just in case, and then that way we'll know who's got lost in the email and whatnot. So cool. Once again, all of you wonderful subscribers to the Day 9 Daily are going to receive a free game code to a platformer I find awesome called Bleed. Oh, wow, some of you did get your code. That's great. Wow, that's amazing. Wow, who'd have thought? Who'd have thought I ever give you what I say I will? What? Who does that? Alright, so cool. We have ourselves a very safe state. Okay, so 3 stalkers in each location to be able to fend off this annoying double-pronged Oracle harass. And is Shift X the pullback? Shift Z, Shift X? Hold on one second. What is the camera control? I could swear there's a camera control to pull off all that sort of cool pullback in action. So quite naturally, we want these geysers up as swiftly as we can. This will always have a fluid timing. There's no exact moment when you should be getting the double assimilators, but generally when you're getting ready to do your tech follow-up, you want to have as much gas as possible as Protoss, just period. So there's the Twilight Council coming up. What are we going to get? Just a couple Blink Stalkers and resume with the rest of our tech. So in the unit count, we see 9 Stalkers out for state. That's about as many as we're ever going to want. We don't really want a ton of Stalkers. It's a very, very dangerous thing to have. We have a chrono-boosted Twilight Council doing nothing. That is not part of the build order at all. I would strongly recommend doing something with that Twilight Council. It's always good to do something with your buildings. But that's fine. Chrono-boosting an empty building is pretty go-so. Other cool things that we see state doing. Observer, just chilling, seeing if there's any attack coming at the front. Probe actually goes down and builds pylons around here. It's really easy to get greedy and to want to, you know, put a pylon here or here. But better places for pylons are places like this, Here is an acceptable location, but not great. This is good. This is one of the best places on this map because it's like just outside range of this watchtower. Well, on some edits of this map. On others, it isn't. Like, for instance, here. See this thing? You're just outside range. Right there. Should be the same here. Right there. Just so that way the use of warp-ins are largely that they come at an angle, not that they come quickly. So Dark Shrine, interestingly, is an excellent answer. Oh yeah, this is when the pause happened. It's an excellent answer to an air player. Because generally players going air will not have huge armies. Generally, they will have smaller armies that cause us to keep our Stalkers back. So that's fine. We'll go Dark Templar, we'll keep the Stalkers back in these two locations. And we'll just harass with small amounts of units. So there's the blink. The way we'll do damage is with the high damage output Dark Templar. Robo Facility makes a Warp Prism. We're not getting a lot of Immortals. If we were against a blinking player, we would get more Immortals. If we were against someone going hardcore air, we would simply get more Blink Stalkers. But the instant we feel relief from pressure, we want to begin doing our next step text. This is an interesting move that State does, where he gets double forge, and when this double forge is done, he is never going to stop ever chrono boosting these. Like, ever. Just going just bonkerville with these. Seriously, bonkerville. So I did want to spend a little bit of time talking about the forge. Timings are so fluid in this matchup because there's I don't want to say that it's an unpredictable matchup, but there's just a really wide range of spots that you can be in at like the 11-minute mark. Maybe he didn't do anything to you, and you can get these forges down really fast. Maybe he went one base Blink Stalker for a really long time and is only just now starting his second base. The forge, you start these double forges. I'll actually note that just about all these plays, let me actually toggle my replay timeline. Look at me being so cheeky. I'm going to pull back to about here. Is this a good spot? Alright, cool. Get out of there, replay timeline. So I'm going to just note the timing of when these buildings go down based upon when we feel relieved from pressure. So right now State's like, oh my gosh, I've been getting assaulted so much. Uh-oh, I'm getting hit by air, make the appropriate things. Whenever I have the freedom to, which basically means whenever I have enough money from building probes constantly, I gotta get the Twilight Council up so I can get Blink and deal with all the things that come at me from air. Still making probes, still making pylons, still trying to make enough Stalkers to defend these varying angles. Okay, I still have this attack at the front. Still trying to stay concerned, stay alive. Most important thing is probe production throughout all this. Alright, cool. Alright, looks like maybe we can do some damage here. Ah, whoops, more oracles coming in. Grr. Still feeling quite a lot of pressure. Quite a lot. Just trying to make sure we keep building probes and stay ahead of our opponent in probe count. Alright, I'm feeling a little bit of alleviated pressure. I'll get my double gas up. Gotta get that up as early as possible. Twilight Council up. I'm gonna need Blink to hold this stuff off. Wow, okay. Well, I don't really see anything with this Observer. Things are so far so good. Okay, cool. Now that I'm realizing that I'm actually not under a bunch of pressure, and look at this, I even have this probe that's gonna pop up here. I'm gonna slow it down so we can see everything that's gonna happen. So here comes this probe. I want you to glance at this production tab. Here comes the probe. Sees a whole bunch of stuff there. Okay, cool. Dark Shrine. Alright, cool. Go for Warp Prism to go along with our Dark Shrine. This will be happening in a moment. Come on. There it is. And also, Double Forge. Basically happened around the time that looked like we had a defensive player here. Cool. So we can see not just, this is not really a timing thing. This isn't like, build it exactly at 62 food, and if you don't know how to read. I'm certain you know how to read, but we want to be able to read our opponents. This is an intuition thing. When we intuitively are safe, transition to these. Also, I don't know why you talk like Kermit the Frog. It's very odd that you do that. I don't know, Maybe it helps get all the significant others, male and female alike. So, in general, I'm quite a big fan of harass that's done while we're playing defensively. So here we have this Dark Templar morphing in. This DT can do huge damage. It can kill like maybe 15 probes if left unattended. So we can just do some really wild and damaging things as a result. However, the majority of our units are still at home. Really like this harass, especially because we know that so much of the Protoss's focus is going to be on keeping us pinned with these two and trying to tech up. So this looks like a very uncomfortable position to be in the game. State is getting these seemingly late additional 2 gateways, and he's not even going up to 6 or 7. He's staying at a more conservative 5 gateway count. And in the meanwhile, Minigun has already gotten the lead in Colossus. Wow, he's already gotten a slightly... actually, are those the same time? Well, yeah, Miniguns is 1 second ahead. Looks like we're quite far behind. I do like that State didn't morph in the DTs early and then put them in the Warp Prism. It's very easy to run into a Phoenix and for it to die. This DT actually made its way up in and will do a limited amount of damage. So this isn't just necessarily a sit on our butt play. We have some nice offensive options. I would probably not do this drop DT play if I was against a, for instance, blinking player. But because we're against a non-blink player, it seems like it has a lot more utility. So it did do some damage. You know, we picked off a couple of probes. How do you open up the units along the... I don't know how to open up the workers killed in this tab, but that's fine. Charge coming right on up. More Immortals. This seems like a very odd thing to do, but around the time we're getting this extra Nexus, this is when we start massing Immortals. I will come back to this in a little bit. Let me first note the timing. Right around the time you're taking the 3rd, go back to Immortal production, and then we'll come back and see why that's good later. Also, Templar Archives 2-2 also come up pretty promptly from State. There comes a pretty key moment here that's like a big trigger time to move out. It's right here, when this Oracle gets taken out. Oh, what a big sigh of relief right now to have not 1, but we almost have 2. Why are the Templars so good? Templar can feed back Oracles and shut down the harass immediately. What does this mean? Instead of having, you know, 3 or 4 Stalkers here and 3 or 4 Stalkers here, we can have a Templar here and a Templar here, and then just feedback. That easy. Once we have the Templar Archives, it means our Stalkers can begin being aggressive. Incidentally, in this game, we did kill off the Oracles. However, in any game, if you're being Oracle harassed, the High Templar really permit you to begin moving out with the Stalkers. So cool, we're going to be moving out. Storm comes up right away. 2-2 being chrono boosted non-stop. State still at an impressively low 5 gateways. So this particular position, State can now move out and potentially pick off more of these observers. Really good, really sweet, really schwanky. Another Warp Prism, so we can continue to do harass. Namely, Storm Drop harass is going to be very effective against a player who's playing a very concentrated style. Storm Drops are going to be wicked good. Okay, cool. And just the general harassment that you would want to do. With Blink Stalkers, permits you to move out with all your stuff. These sentries are quite important. These sentries are what are going to make these Immortals so good. By throwing down sentries, force fields, the Colossus have to walk forward and step on the force fields, which gives these Immortals some free shots on them. This storm ensures that we are going to be crushing in the gateway unit versus gateway unit battle. And State is really heavily emphasizing that. He's going up to, let's see, there's 1, 2. I think the other ones are up here, yeah. 3, 4 additional gateways, 9 total. Gravitic Drive, oops, wrong player, sorry. Ignore Gravitic Drive, we don't care about it. But with this composition, State, largely thanks to the Stalkers, is starting to gain map control, but this is also a pretty juicy mix in its own. Mothership Core being there to be able to time warp for additional storms, or recall if things get hairy. I don't think that this attack is really that significant, but it still is very cool to see. The freedom that State moves out with this seemingly pathetic force against this force. I mean, seriously, I remember casting this game and being like, Jesus, State is crazy. Has he lost his mind? What is wrong with him? He has like 20 dudes. The other guy has like 100 dudes. But this is amazingly safe. The Stormers help us a lot. The fact that we have force fields means that no matter what, he's going to have to run up with these Colossus, which gives us free shots. And the hidden hero in all this is the fact that we have 2-2 upgrades on these units. 2-2 en route to 3-3 against the mere 1-1 of Minigun Gun. So here's one of my favorite transitional moments in the game. So State botches hard, takes some serious hits, adds on 2 Stargates. There is a potential for State to win with this attack right here, to win with this push. But he didn't. He sees an unusually high number of Colossus. He's going to go straight for the Tempests. Just general good minimap spotting leads State to be able to pick this off. It's not tremendous in terms of the change in supply. I mean, if we just look at the army sizes, 172 to 161, it's not mind-blowing the lead that State gained from that. Immortals continue to be produced. Immortals are really damn important. Never stop building them. We have map control, so we can get our 4th up. Great. Immortals. Many, 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 many Immortals. And again, we'll see specifically very why when we get into these big air battles. I think the most compelling part of this entire game is the very, very end. Where we actually see this engagement. A Zealot Archon army. Some more harassment comes up. I don't care about this. This is not valuable to what the points I want to make. Come on, speed up, plus, 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 plus. This moment, I remember when I was watching this game, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be so bad. Because generally, faster, zippier armies want to engage the opponent here, get a favorable angle, then have a second engagement here, and then have like a third engagement here. They don't want to just start pinned all up in the base and stuff. So here we actually get to see the true glory of this mix. So before this battle, let me note some of the setup. Stargates. Not as significant to this battle. We've only been able to make 4 units out of the Stargates. Cool. What about gateway count? Ah, see these 8 gateways for minigun? Actually, 11 gateways for minigun. Amazingly few units on the gateway side of things. I mean, minigun is basically maxed, but look at this. 12 Zealots, 7 Stalkers, some assorted pastries, and it's basically the typical 8 Colossus and 3 Immortal composition. I'm cycling through the Immortals on the screen, by the way. This engagement angle, already not ideal, but we can watch in slow motion and sort of see how it pans out. With the wonderful assistance... Oh yeah, by the way, this looks bad. This looks absolutely frickin' horrifically bad for minigun. However, note, first of all, we have Storm. Storm permits us to crunch hard on the gateway versus gateway unit battle. So the Zealots from State get to zip right on through, which means these Immortals are not taking shots. Again, if we focus on the gateway armies, if we get our Storms out and we get a couple of shots off with our Zealots, then suddenly we've already shoved our opponent way back. And our Zealots are killing his Colossus. Storms are mainly going to be useful in with the gateway armies underneath the Colossus. But the degree to which State crushed in that battle is pretty uncanny. Pretty remarkable. Now let me describe a little bit about the emotional arc of a PvP. It goes something like this. Okay, here we go. Alright, I have my cool build. Let me start building Colossus. Whoops, he started before me. Ah, I don't have enough Colossus. The end. That's the way PvP goes, right? When it's like, oh, well, I had 8 Colossus versus his 5, so I destroyed him. The end. It comes really back to that early decision of when did I start building my Colossus? But with this build, with this style, I mean, the answer to Colossus, these 2 Tempests, were started, like, what? Like 4 minutes ago? Like the 18-minute mark? Actually, was it the 18-minute mark? I'm going to 18 minutes. I think it was 18 minutes. Had to have been, like, 18 and a half. Oh, wow, even later than that. Or, excuse me, no, this 18 minutes. Okay, yeah, I was like, what's going wrong? The replay time's different, as you can see there. I was getting very confused. I was wondering why those 2 were so different. We had started that composition quite late, this transition, but we'll see a couple of times later how ridiculously much damage Tempests do versus Colossus. Gonna watch the battle one more time. Alright. So there are a couple of issues, like the fact that, you know, Minigun got a little overeager and put those Zealots there. This is actually a testament to why this is an effective style. If there is any lack of Zealots in this, and if your opponent has any surplus of Stalkers, he's going to get rocked real hard, real fast. Even with the reinforcement Zealots from Minigun. We just won that frontline battle so quickly. And sure, this is going on, but it's virtually irrelevant to this battle up at the front. Okay, so Minigun now has second chance. Minigun has the opportunity to use these 11 gateways to flood out as many Zealots as he damn well pleases. Which he does somewhere. Where are Minigun Zealots? I think they're all okay. They're all basically here. Is there another one? No, yeah, that's basically it. Okay, and we see once again, not a lot of Zealots out of State. He has 9 Zealots out. And he's going to continue to engage. So now Minigun has a much more modest Colossus count, down to 3. $20 to 9. 20 to 9. Look at the damage the Tempests do to frickin' Colossus. Just look at these Colossus health things. Don't look anywhere else. Look at how fast those fall. Those are just Tempest shots. That is pretty obscene how good that is. Pretty obscene. Now I want to come back to before the fight so we can see what, you know, why this is going so stupidly well. A lot of it is Storm. Okay, I'm going to highlight the Zealots of Minigun. Here's the engagement. Here's the Storms that are going to go down. I'm going to have to do some pausing throughout here. But here's the Zealots of State. Back to Zealots of Minigun. Evaporating quite quickly. Still 4 Zealots, but it was like down from 9. Oops, these are the guys I want to have selected. Everything else just gets pretty much decimated. In any angle. Oops. Go away, winning screen. At any point, if this line of Zealots is broken anywhere, here the line of Zealots crumbles here. Thanks largely in part to these Archons. Whenever that happens, suddenly it gives permission for these Immortals to swing on in. Basically, the ground armies are going to die very quickly to our ground army force because we're favoring Storm, Zealots, and it's pretty straightforward from there. The style has been utilized extremely effectively by SOS a number of times. Just generally, Zealot Archon, Templar with Immortals. Plus the Tempest and a little bit of air support. Not ridiculous and overwhelming numbers of Colossus in these really tense fights, but I really think it might start to become more typical.
Can you hear me now? We're gonna go to a break where we fix the sound.
When we come back, screw it, I'm going to say it with a crackle. When we come back in part 3, we're going to see this build holding off a scary rush, and we'll take sounds.